And as you can see from the back end, right now, boom, getting that second arm. It's always about the counter move. We talk about all the time whenever we're working a pass by. Of course, we want to be violent at the top end of the pass by with our club arm, but our second arm is what we call the combat arm, and that one's going to combat their counter move. We want to make sure that when we rake down, that it's violent and it's strong to get that DB's arm down. So as he's right here, now he's got to be prepared for the counter move. He's got to get his second arm through, right here. His outside arm, first arm gets on him. Second arm, we want to bring that straight down, rake right through, and get his counter arm off of you. The next drill we want to talk about today is what we call our stare drill. And one of the things that we like to emphasize out of this drill is getting our body turned to go into the next direction. As you'll see, the individuals ahead of you will quick foot fire up to the cones and stick the outside foot and get the knee turned to the next cone. One of the things about this drill is you see how close the cones are. It requires us to really work our footwork in between each one, and off the last cone they're coming off catching a ball. One of the things we always say, this was a pretty good job right here of getting his body turned. The next guy, one of the things we always say about running routes is it's kind of like marching in a band. We want to always get our body turned in the direction that we're going into. So as he's pushing up to this next cone, he gives a little head nod and sticks that outside foot. We want to make sure we're always planting off the outside foot and transitioning to the next direction. Next drill we want to talk about is our M drill, and basically we'll have a box set up, and basically these guys are going to run to the top of the cone. And in our drills, we like to use our arches that you've seen previously on the video. And it really focuses on getting guys' shoulders over their toes and really coming in and out of the cut. And they want to be tight at the top end. We always talk about keeping everything under the framework of our body and staying within our cylinder. So as you'll see, he'll push up to the first arch and then back down to the next one, to the cone. It'll be a quick cut there. Then off the last arch, he's going to come back off and get a ball. We want to make sure that we're tight at the top end of our route. And with our body, we want to be pumping from the shoulders, not only just from the arms. As you can see at the top end, we're still sticking that outside foot and getting the knee going back in the direction of the quarterback in which we're heading into. Really good job right there, except for the finish part. Now, right here, a lot taller guys we don't want to see as much drop down at the top. We want to make sure our shoulders are over our toes, but we should be running at that level. And one of the things that you see guys that tend to drop down that much at the top end of the route, it may be because they're rising once they're coming off the ball. So we want to make sure that when we're coming off the ball, we're keeping a good forward lean and keeping our pads over our knees to where we don't have to drop down as much. We should be explosive as in our regular stance. The next drill we'll talk about today is what we call our W drill, and basically that stands for win. At the wide receiver position, we put a major emphasis on winning our 50-50 balls, and a 50-50 ball to us is anytime it's a competitive ball with us and the defensive back, whether that's a slant route, whether that's a curl, or whether it's a deep ball. We want to win all our 50-50 battles. So one of the drills that we practice here is just it's a fade drill where the defensive back is slightly on the inside of us, and we both run down the field, and we want to make sure we're focusing in on holding our line. And as you can see, the cone is set up there. Simply, it's about 2 yards outside of the numbers and where we consider we want that fade ball to drop. And we want it to fall anywhere between 4 yards from the sideline, simply because we want to let the ball get over our outside shoulder. So as you can see, as we're running down the field, and the defensive back starts leaning up on us, we want to make sure we lean on him. First, we're in a position to stack, then we're in a position to lean on him to let the ball get over our outside shoulder. This is a drill that we practice often just to simply to teach our guys how to adjust to deep balls, as well as you can see right here, catching deep balls and getting their feet in bounds. It's also a great drill not only offensively, but defensively, to have your guys practice on high pointing the ball and attacking the ball. And the way we do our drill is it's all off the wide receiver's movement. So you can see the defensive back is there in a position where he's trying to pin the shoulder. Now we've got to go down the field and compete. And this is a great shot right here of letting the ball get over your outside shoulder. We never want to catch the ball over our inside because the defensive back now can play our hands. We want to make sure that we give him no position to play the ball but through our body. And either we believe that that's going to end with the result of a catch, or it's going to have to be some kind of interference if they come through our body and make a catch. This is a really good job right here of holding your line and at the last second fading to the ball. But however, we still want this ball over our outside shoulder, not over our inside. As you can see right here, the back angle, the defensive back beats him to the point and goes to cut him off and pin the shoulder. But right now, instead of fading away from him, we want to apply pressure and lean on him. Eventually, we want to work to get his arm off of us and still be able to run down the field with two arms, but at the same time, we're looking up, eyes to the sky and adjusting to the ball, letting it get over that outside shoulder. The next drill we'll talk about today is our four corner drill, and what you'll see is the wide receiver will push up to the cone, and he wants to stick his outside foot and at the same time take that transition step flat down the line to the next cone. One of the things that we focus on is not only making sure we're not running around our feet at the top end of the route, make sure we're taking an extend step and having our transition step flat down the line, but we also want to make sure that we're pumping our shoulders and beating the drums at the top. This is good right here. One of the things you want to do is when you go through this drill, you want to make sure that you're tight to the cone and not rounding any of your cuts. This is our four corners drill. The next drill we're going to talk about is our triangle drill. And basically our triangle drill is just set up just for us to get us going through the day and help us catch some balls, but also the finished part of our triangle drill is seeing how well we can catch a ball, stick our foot in the ground, and get up the field. So as you'll see, the wide receiver goes up and around the cones, and he's going to get three balls. They could either be in front of him or behind him, and he's got to adjust to make the catches. And then this last one is to see him really stick his foot in the ground and get upfield. And we want to make sure that we put that last cone about 5 yards to see us get a burst through it. So he's pushing up through the cones, and he's low in his cuts and in and out his breaks. And this last one, he's going to stick his foot in the ground and get us a burst upfield.